I'm very pleased to bring in a comrade now who has struggled for the right for free speech, as well as against apartheid for pretty much, maybe not all his life, but for a long time. Ronnie Kasrils is joining us. I'm very pleased to welcome him to our meeting. He was a minister in Nelson Mandela's government and, of course, an anti-apartheid veteran fighter. We're very pleased to welcome you, comrades. Hello.
Hi there. Thanks so much.
Ronnie, you're very quiet. There's something wrong with your microphone, I think.
Yes, I see. Okay. You can hear me now, can you?
Yes, you're very loud now.
Okay, like Tony, I'm BBC, born before computers, so I just had to adjust things. But comrades, it's absolutely a privilege to be with you. And I must say, maybe I shouldn't have voted, but I did, given that I'm from South Africa, but it wouldn't have made much of a difference. Let me say at once that there's international solidarity. And we're with you in the face of this abominable witch hunt, comrades. Once the COVID is hopelessly defeated, I look forward to meeting many of you when we South Africans can once again visit Little Britain. You'll make it big again, comrades. I'm not talking Trumpism there. Apartheid is defined by the United Nations as an institutionalized system of segregation in which a dominant race group oppresses another to perpetuate its control. You all know this, and you're aware that it's universally applicable. Those who cringe from the odious analogy can go take note of Israeli human rights group B'Tselem's statement affirming that Israel is an apartheid state. Let them gaze into their navels, Lady Hodge amongst them, whether B'Tselem is anti-Semitic. Hopefully, some will wake up. Some will. The ISC has decided, as we know, that it has the right to investigate Israeli war crimes. And of course, true to form, Netanyahu has labeled this move anti-Semitic. Similarly, Israel's cynical apologists, courtesy of that IHRA's biased definition, attack upholders of Palestinian rights with that diversionary tool. In South Africa, the communist bogey was the all-embracing deflection strategy, which so appealed to Western powers. Wrapped within was raising various alarms, black peril, red peril, the onslaught on white Christian civilization. We've seen the chicanery played by the likes of Trump, inciting fascist mobs, and those in Europe and elsewhere. And it applies to Israel's leaders and their apologists in their incendiary words, justifying criminal deeds. It brings us to the issue of freedom of speech, your topic, a principle which, as been alluded to today, is not an invitation to a free-for-all, a license to say anything. The South African Constitution, and I'm sure you know this, guarantees freedom of speech, but it does not extend this to recognition of incitement to violence, advocacy of hatred based on race, ethnicity, gender, or religion. And I must stress, we would not countenance Holocaust denialism in any way. The righteous judge the moral basis of ideas relevant to facts and analysis on what constitutes right and wrong, what justice and truth is all about. We teach this to our children if we're good parents. It is not the purveying of harmful and dangerous lies under whatever ism. The case for Palestine concerns the factual and truthful narrative of a just cause against a racist colonial system, a struggle in pursuit of justice, of freedom, equality, democracy, human rights, return of the refugees, property and land restitution, not unlike what we fought for in South Africa. And comrades, there can only be one truthful narrative, and that is one based on the facts, unlike the agenda of the witch hunters. You cannot be even-handed in judging between oppressor and oppressed. That's the message we must always tell them. Defending freedom of speech is providing the real facts to the people. It's very important. We see the very opposite of this in Israel's machinations, white supremacist South Africa, and of course, Trumpism in America and elsewhere in the world, from Bolsonaro to Europe to Modi in India, falsification of the narrative, manufacturing of fake news, ignoring context, assaulting truth and meaning. In such cases, critical thinking so vital to democracy, its lifeblood, has been absent or diminished from school curricula in such places and seeps like poison into higher education and the wider society. The harmful result renders a significant part of the populace vulnerable to all manner of conspiracy theories and racist manipulation. And we witness this effrontery of the Jewish Board of Deputies' attempt to stop Ken Loach from addressing Oxford students. We warn them to beware the slippery slope. What's the next step? Consigning Ken's films to a bonfire? Zionists need to consider that. In taking your campaign forward, let me say our campaign, it is imperative to educate and raise awareness and build from the grassroots amongst the youth, women, workers, communities, the religions, sport and cultural sectors, consulting and uniting with allies on common programs of action. And comrades, finding common cause within your country, the British left, as elsewhere, building a broad-based front across the world. That's what you will recall we managed in South Africa, where we fused resistance within South Africa to that marvelous, powerful international solidarity, a weapon of BDS, boycott, divestment, sanctions, which contributed and you helped to the toppling of apartheid. The great issue of freedom of speech is critical to the struggle against the threat of neo-fascism and racism. And it's central to countering the deceit and hypocrisy which misconstrues what anti-Semitism is really about. Our opponents defend the indefensible. Those fighting for the truth against all forms of racism, discrimination, oppression, and exploitation, we will prevail, comrades. And I use your slogan of your conference, yes, it's time to stand up and be counted. Best wishes, comrades, in your deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, comrade. That was wonderful. Thank you very much, comrade. And I think you've already dealt with some of the issues that are coming up in our discussion today. So thank you for giving us your view on that issue.